Hello and welcome back. This is video number 3. We're going to dive in and this is going to be major chatbot mistakes. So we want to make sure that you start on the right foot. So in this video, we're going to go over common mistakes that can potentially lower your conversion rate. A lot of these are simple and sound like common sense, but they are actually very common mistakes that a lot of people make. So if you make that, don't worry, it's not a big deal. Just remember that these little tweaks can actually help get more leads, get more people to interact with your bots, get more people to solve their questions. So first things first, many people assume that their prospects know how to interact with their chatbot. But the reality is that most people don't know. So you need to give clear, straightforward, and concise instructions. Number 2, not having a mock-up of what all the questions look like. And by this, I mean having the questions that you'll be asking. If yes, where do they go? What kind of questions will they be asked after they answer yes? If they answer no, what will happen? So imagine a tree and you're building it out, and eventually it's going to look very complicated. So if you're going by memorization, it's going to be very difficult, and it's most likely that you're not going to get a good conversion rate. But if you plan it all out, you're able to see everything in front of you. Not only is it going to get better conversions, but in addition to that, you are going to be able to implement it at a faster and more efficient rate. Now, if they say no, what happens? If they don't have a yes or no, what happens? Where do they get sent? So in other words, it'll make your life a lot easier if you map it out first. Number 3, this is going to be very, very simple. It's going to sound like common sense, but it's actually a very common mistake. When you go to Messenger on any bots, you're going to notice there is a logo at the top of that Messenger bot. Now, what we have noticed over the years is a lot of people tend to just upload a logo and then the logo gets cropped. It doesn't look professional. And guess what? People judge a book by its cover. So they're going to judge you based on how that initial logo looks like. So a lot of times what Facebook will do is it will turn the picture into a circle. So in other words, imagine a square and it will show only what's in that circle. So if you have something in the far top left corner, it's going to cut that off. So you need to make sure that your logo or your picture or whatever you're trying to show is smack dab in the middle of that picture. So otherwise, that part of the image will be cut off. It's going to look not professional at all, and people will think that you're not professional. And like I said, people will judge you. There's a saying that, don't judge a book by its cover. But the reality is that people will judge you by your cover. Number 4, going back to the fact that most people don't know how to use your chatbot. Keeping that in mind, constantly in your mind, this is where number 4 comes in. So number 4 will help you get people to interact with your chatbot. You'll increase the number of people that interact. So knowing that, we need to be concise, we need to be straightforward, we need to tell people what they need to do. Typically, when you go to a messenger, specifically a Facebook page messenger bot, you click on it, you're going to see the logo at the top, you're going to see a blurb, and then you're going to see a get started blue button. Now, the reality is a lot of people don't even realize that blue button is even there. They look at it, they don't know what to do. And remember, chatbots are new. Maybe it's new in the last few years, but people are still learning to become acquainted with them. So one thing that you definitely want to say is address them by their name. And you can do that by utilizing Facebook's Messenger placeholders. So you can say something like, hey, name. You never want to say, hey, you, or anything like that. You want to make it personal. And by doing that, they will feel like you're friendly. They'll feel a little love. Now, the question is, what do you want your prospect to do? And what do you want to give them in return for interacting with your bot? Now, by give them, I mean, are you giving them knowledge? Are you giving them answers to their questions? Are you giving them something for free? Are you giving them a discount? What are you giving them in return for interacting with your bot? Now, a tip that we found that works really well is by asking questions. So as somebody is staring at your bot and they see a question being asked towards them that is related to what they're interested in, for example, something like, can I teach you how to XYZ? So can I help do this for you? Or can I help you? Can I help answer your questions? How can I help you? Now, you're only going to know this question if you've surveyed your prospects and your customers and figured it out what exactly they want. Now, adding on top of that moves on to number 5. So before they trigger the chatbot or press that get started blue button at the very bottom, most people don't know that it's even there. So like I said earlier, you need to be concise. You need to give clear instructions on what to do. So here's what you do. So considering the above, make sure that your initial message shows this. Hi, name. Can I teach you how to XYZ? Click the Get Started button to get started. So as you can see, it sounds very basic, but this is something that you can utilize for yourself. Say hi, name, being personal. Ask that question and then tell them exactly what to do. Click Get Started. So as you can imagine, your next questions should reflect that. You should say, hey, so-and-so, thank you for your interest. And you want to keep it short. So you got to remember that people have a short attention span. So use the phrase above and it will get you off to the right start with your prospect. So with that said, let's move on to video number 4.